It's the latest and greatest Valkyrie type hailing from the days of Medarock Girls Mission on the 3DS, making her debut. It is VAL04 Brunhilde, coming to the game with a kit of Gatling, CG Drain, Guard 500, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Holy Grace, which buffs all leg stats, minus armor and heavy limit, for every positive effect applied to self while in battle. Now, of course, it is nice to see another returnee from the days of Girls Mission make her grand debut into the series, especially with a very nice, aesthetically pleasing Valkyrie type, especially like her. Gatling, of course, is a standard shooting attack that is a scattered AoE. That means it'll damage one part at normal and then two other parts at random at 1/3 of the total damage of the attack. Charge Drain is simply another basic melee skill that instead of outright attacking the opponent or dealing pierce damage, it instead will also sap a percentage of their Medaforce gauge and fill their own gauge with it. And then last but not least, Guard 500 is a variant of basic guard with a little bit more of a kick to it, as in addition to intercepting basic blows, it also will negate a base 500 of damage right off the top from any incoming blow. Float Legs, of course, give her pretty solid terrain on just about pretty solid coverage on just about any terrain very easily, and then of course Holy Grace does make this even better for her. Sadly, with a scattered kit like hers, it is kind of difficult to use her pretty feasibly or efficiently, depending on how you decide to build her in battle. Given a scattered AoE, a interrupt type skill, and then a shield, it is kind of tricky to actually figure out which way you're going to use her consistently while she's on the field. Whereas with a float leg, you really may not have to worry about her coverage on terrains too badly. Given the fact that her leg ability is Holy Grace, which requires positive buffs, that is something she sadly cannot do for herself, which means in order to use Brunhilde to her best advantage and at her highest speed and efficiency, she will need to be paired off with someone that can apply positive buffs, such as, say, shoot boost, fight boost, mobile boost, or any stat cleanse. Anything that has a positive effect can be applied, but the problem is it needs to be on her allies' docket in order to use them for her to benefit from. For these reasons, I do have to rate Brunhilde a pretty solid 6.5 out of 10 as a pure set score. Not that she's bad, because she has very solid stats across the board. About 3,200 HP for the head, about just shy of 3,000 for her right arm, almost a little over 4,400 for her left arm for that shield, and about 3,450 for her legs, so she's definitely good in the armor department. She can definitely take a hit and keep on kicking. With her mobility, about 673 is in the upper range of where you'd want a pretty solid and conventional float leg to be. Melee resist and shoot resist of 945 and 823 respectively isn't necessarily too bad, especially as base stats in particular, since they will go up relative to the Holy Grace buff and the leg ability, but definitely in that, I'd say, lower end sweet spot you want to be at as a bare minimum in some cases. And with an evade of 984, she is going to be a little shifty on the field, may not dodge or graze everything, but definitely better than being completely incapable of doing it at all in some cases. As mixed parts, on the other hand, I'd have to rate her about equally at a 6.5 out of 10 for the exact reasons stated above. Not to say that any of her parts are bad, I'd say the most used parts on her will probably be her leg or her right arm if I had to give a general opinion or an anticipation of how often I think she would be used. Not to say that she's bad, but compared to other Valkyrie types such as, say, Pretty Prime or Noelle, where they can be used even as defenders or alternative ailment fighters, say between Freeze or Thunder, or even in Noelle's case where she has a meta change and can nuke, Brunhilde's just kind of here. Not necessarily an aggressive defender, much like Noelle or Pretty Prime might be, but still a pretty consistent defender. I'd even say an interruptive type of defender all the same.